and welcome back to another video. So today I wanted to do the audiobook tag and share all of my thoughts and feelings on audiobooks with you guys. I was very kindly tagged to do this by Spill the Reads. I will leave their channel link down below. And of course, I will leave all the people that I'm tagging to do this in the description as well. All right, so without further ado, I'm gonna hop into the questions right here and let you know some of my thoughts. So the first question is, do you listen to audiobooks? If not, why not? And I would say that I do love listening to audiobooks. Besides physical books, this is my second favorite format of reading. I just love audiobooks so much. It's changed the way that I read. And I think that I've been listening to audiobooks for years, since I was a young child. I first discovered them through Libby and through my school library, and I always had at least one audiobook checked out from the Libby app as a child. I just absolutely fell in love with them, and I just love how much audiobooks allow me to read. I get to read so many more books through audiobooks than I would if I could only read physical books or ebooks, and I just love the flexibility audiobooks provide me with. Ever since I was a child, I've been listening to them, and just my love for audiobooks has grown more and more over time. All right, the next question is, has your use of audiobooks changed over time? If so, how? So my audiobook use definitely has increased over time. When I was younger, I had a lot more time to read books physically or to read ebooks. I had reading time in school and all of that, so I was able to dedicate more time to that, and I had obviously a lot less responsibilities. And as I've gotten older, I've gotten more responsibilities, a lot more things on my plate, and less time to read physical books or ebooks. So this means that audiobooks are a natural choice for me to be able to read more. I just think that they are very convenient, and I found myself turning more and more to them because I can listen to them whenever I am busy doing some other task that is a little bit mindless. All right, the next question is, how do you choose which book you will read or which one you will listen to? So when I'm choosing books that I'm going to listen to the audio, first I'm going to consider if I have access to a copy of that audiobook. So I will check Libro.fm to see if I have an advanced listening copy for it. I'll check my Libby app, I'll check Everand, I'll check all of those applications, see what's in my library or what I have access to check out, and that's part of my deciding factors. Also, I would say that there are certain genres that I don't like to listen to audiobooks for as much as others, so that also affects and influences my decisions. Like for romances or contemporary stories, I'm much more likely to listen to those through audiobook than physically read them, but for a fantasy or a mystery or a thriller, I am more likely to read the physical book or the ebook, just because I need to keep my attention focused on that book in order to absorb everything that's happening in the story. I find that this is particularly the case with fantasy, as there's so much world building and plot and character development happening that if I'm listening to the audiobook, I might get a little bit lost or not realize exactly what's happening. I've listened to so many fantasies on audiobook before, and sometimes I do find myself just being completely confused and having to go back and listen again because I lost track of the story. So I personally prefer to read those on physical books, but if I have an advanced listening copy of it, I will do a tandem read or sometimes just listen to the audiobook for convenience sake. Question number 4 is, do you multitask when audiobooking? I think that's such a fun verb. I know that it's not a real word, but I love the idea of audiobooking. I would like to start using that now going forward, but I think I'd be looked at a little bit strangely if I started using that. So I would say that I love to multitask when listening to audiobooks. I don't always multitask, but sometimes I find myself getting a little bit bored or antsy if I'm just listening to an audiobook and not doing anything else. So usually I listen to audiobooks when I drive, when I'm doing chores, when I'm answering emails, and sometimes even when I'm writing a review or planning a video. And for me, it definitely depends on the book and the part of the story I'm at. This will affect my ability to multitask and which tasks that I'm able to perform while listening to it. And I usually try to stick to more mindless tasks when I'm listening to an audiobook, so things that don't require me to have a lot of thought in order to do them. That way I can ensure that I'm remaining focused on the story, because my mind does tend to wander sometimes, and then I find myself losing the thread of the plot. If you're reading a series and you listen to the first book, would you ever switch to reading a later book, or do they now all need to be listened to? And I think that I'm okay with switching reading formats or mediums when I'm reading a series. I am flexible with my reading and adapt it to fit what's going on in my life at the moment. So for example, I listened to all the audiobooks of the Hunger Games trilogy this year as a reread, but I'm planning on physically reading The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and Sunrise on the the reaping because I think I'll get more out of the experience that way. And physically reading will allow me to be more connected to the characters and to the story. So I think that'll be a better experience. But I did listen to the audiobooks of the first 3 books because I've read them so many times that I just wanted to get through them faster. So if I'm doing a reread, I will usually do that through audio as well. But for new books or series, it really depends. So I just decide based off of my mood and what I think is going to be the better reading experience for me. Okay, the next question is, what percent of the books are you currently consuming as audiobooks? I don't know the exact percentage. It has to be at least 60% of my reading, but I can't tell you an exact percent, but it definitely varies from month to month. Some months this percentage is closer to 75 or 80%, and some months it can be as low as 35 or 40% depending on the number of books that I read, what I'm doing in that month otherwise besides reading, and if I'm on a vacation, that sort of thing. That all affects how I read my books. So it depends on just what's happening in that season of my life. Okay, and then the bonus prompt is, do you have a favorite narrator or a favorite book that you enjoyed in the audiobook format? So I really loved Unloved by Peyton Corinne and All My Rage by Sabaa Tahir, and the audiobooks for those were absolutely excellent. They really enhanced my listening experience and my reading experience overall. Unloved had dual narration, and All My Rage had like a cast of narrators. I think there were 3 of them, and I thought that was so interesting. It added to the immersiveness of the experience, and I really enjoyed that. So I think that an audiobook will attract me more if it does have that dual or duet or a full cast of narrators. I'm more likely to pick up that audiobook if that's the case. And I don't have specific narrators that I like to listen to, but a narrator's tone of voice, their accent, or any other aspect of their speech can affect my listening experience and will also affect if I choose to listen to that via audiobook or read the book physically. Alright, that's gonna be the end of the tag. Again, I'm going to leave all the people that I'm tagging down below in the description, and if you see this video and you want to do this tag, you definitely can feel free to do it. Please tag me in the description of your video so I can check it out as well. If you like this video, give it a like, comment, and subscribe. How do you feel about audiobooks? Do you like listening to them or not? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. And I want to say to everyone that watches my videos a big thank you, and I am very grateful for all of you. Wherever you are in the world, whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, I hope that you are doing well, and I'll see you for the next one. Bye!